There is here in the Mahaparinirvana, near the Mahaparinirvana Stupa, there is here a great vihara in which is a figure of the Nirvana of Tathagat. He is lying with his head to the north as if asleep. That is what Pareyuva means. Pare means to lie and Yuva means Uttarva, and up here Uttarva means north. So he is lying with his head to the north. With head to the north is Uttarva, Pareyuva is lying with the head to the north. By the side of this vihara is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja, etc. Okay, now let's see where this other Pareyuva is, where he saw the statue of a Buddha, reclining Buddha with lying down with his head facing the north. Okay folks, now today I am presenting you a video showing the Mahaparinirvana site of the Buddha. Now the Buddha did not die in Kushinagar. Kushinagar is a word concocted by the British Orientalists. Such a town never existed. Heung Sang goes to Ki Se Na Ki Lo, which Samuel Beal translated as Kushinagar. Folks, Kushinagar, there was no city by the name of Kushinagar. So this is the Mahaparinirvana site in this video. It is all from Heung Sang's book Siyu Ki, Buddhist Records of the Western World, and basically it is scientific research at its best, and there are around 18 stupas connected to the Mahaparinirvana site, which Heung Sang shows you all of them. Folks, it's just simply deciphering words. So enjoy the video of the Mahaparinirvana stupa. There is a stupa with the name Mahaparinirvana. It is slightly varied because the Buddhists mispronounced it and called it Mahaparinirvana. So folks, enjoy the video. This is your first sighting of all the places connected to the Mahaparinirvana site and the Mahaparinirvana stupa. Heung Sang comes here from Lauriya Nandangarh and Pakri Mariha, which is the Ashes stupa, folks. And from he goes there from Mansa Chapra and Kesho Chapra and Teen Vardaha, where the Buddha exchanged his clothes, cut his hair, and returned his horse and his horseman. So folks, this is your Mahaparinirvana. He comes to Lauriya Nandangarh, which is the Ashes stupa in Pakri Mariha, and from there he goes east to Ki Se Na Ki Lo, which is Korea Tola, which the British misdeciphered as Kushinagar. So folks, enjoy the video. Okay, now folks, this is my the new video from CU. My only source for all my information is Heung Sang's book Siyu Ki, Buddhist Records of the Western World, translated from the Chinese of Heung Sang, AD 609, Heung Sang by Samuel Beal, folks, by Samuel Beal. So folks, this is my source, and I have shown you the places where Heung Sang went from page 1 to page 31. Now this book is, this section, this video deals with all the stupas Heung Sang mentions, which are related to the Mahaparinirvana, the Buddha's Mahaparinirvana. And folks, there is a stupa by the name of Mahaparinirvana. It is a bit different because your Mahaparinirvana is a mispronunciation of that word. And there are a lot of stupas, folks. Enjoy the video. This is straight from Siyu Ki, Buddhist Records of the Western World, translated by Samuel Beal. Folks, and this deals with this video deals with pages 31 to page 42. This video deals with page 31 to page 42. So enjoy the video. Let's start from page 31. I have shown you Mansa, Chhapra and all those places, folks. Now see, this is very important now. From Mansa, Chhapra and Lauria Nandangarh, let's see where Yun Sang goes. From this, going northeast through a great forest, along a dangerous and difficult road where wild oxen and herds of elephants and robbers and hunters cause incessant trouble to travelers. After leaving the forest, we come to the kingdom of Kushinagar, which Samuel Beal deciphered as Kushinagar. So actually, Kushinagar is a word concocted by him to match Kushinagar. So folks, from this going northeast through a great forest along a dangerous and difficult road where wild oxen folks, this is the Bhaisa Lotan area. They call it Bhaisa Lotan, that is wild oxen, and herds of dangerous and herds of elephants and robbers and hunters cause incessant trouble to travelers. Even today, Bhaisa Lotan is lawless, folks. So, folks, let's see where Kushinagar is, which you all know as Kushinagar. It is actually Kodia Tola. So you have Lauria Nandangarh up here with that Pakri Maria, etc. What do you call it? Yun Sang goes northeast to where what he calls Kushinagar, which Samuel Beal deciphered as Kushinagar. But up here to the east is Kodia Tola. So basically, Yun Sang says he goes to Kushinagar. Now Q is Koi of Koiria, C is Ri, Na is Ya, Koiria, Kuisina, Koiria, Kilo Tola, Koiria Tola. So folks, it is not just only, choosing a name. The other stupas that Yun Sang describes should be around this area. So I have discovered 18 stupas which Yun Sang describes, which are around this area, which is the Mahaparinirvana spot. The Mahaparinirvana stupa is just nearby. So folks, the Buddha's Mahaparinirvana stupa. Now see, he goes nowhere near Kushinagar. Kushinagar is 42 kilometers south of Mansa, Chhapra and Teen Vardaha. Kushinagar is 42 kilometers and it's around 55 kilometers southwest of Lauria Nandangarh. So Yun Sang doesn't go there. He goes from Teen Vardaha and Mansa, Chhapra. He goes southeast 50 kilometers to Lauria Nandangarh and Pakri Maria and Padaravan, and from there he goes east to Kodia Tola, and which he mispronounces as Kushinagar. Now he describes this place as a very wild place. You see, he hasn't given the mileage, he hasn't given the distance. He has only given the direction, and the direction is also wrong, slightly wrong. He says northeast, but it is east. Basically, this area was, full of robbers and wild buffaloes and elephants. Today also it is full of robbers, wild buffaloes. It is called, because of the wild buffaloes, it is called Bhaisa Lotan area. This area is called the Bhaisa Lotan area. So it is through this Bhaisa Lotan area, this wild area, because of this area he couldn't give the mileage or distance. He just gives a general direction. So folks, here is your Korea Tola, the Mahaparinirvana area. He goes nowhere near Kushinagar. And in Kushinagar, you won't find all the stupas that I found here, 18 stupas, exactly according to what Hyun Sam prescribed. So folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now this is a close-up of Korea Tola, folks. It's in Raxaul. This is a close-up of Korea Tola. Actually, the name Raxaul seems to have superseded this name, Korea Tola. And the name is there, but the place, the village is here. And it has become a small colony of Raxaul town. So basically, Korea Tola, Hyun Sang mispronounces it as Kui She Na Ki Lo. And Samuel Beale translates it as Kushinagar. So let's see the difference, and let's decipher the word properly. So here you have your Hyun Sangs, Kui Shi Na Ki Lo, or is it Q Shi Na Ki Lo, and your Kushinagar. Let's decipher the word. So you have Hyun Sangs, Kui Shi Na Ki Lo, and Koi Ri Ya Tola. Kui Koi, Kui Koi, Shi Ri Na Ya Ki Lo Tola. But Kushinagar, it doesn't tally with Kui Shi Na Ki Lo. So folks, Korea Tola is the country's name. Now that we have established this name, Korea Tola, as Hyun Sang's Kui Shi Na Ki Lo, let's see where Hyun Sang takes us. Now see here, to the northwest of the city, 3 or 4 li will be around 1 to 1.5 kilometers. To the northwest of the city, 3 or 4 li, crossing the Ajitavati Oshito Fati river on the western bank, not far we come to a grove of sal trees. The sal tree is like the hoo tree with a greenish white bark and leaves, with glistening and smooth, very glistening and smooth. In this wood are 4 trees of an unusual height which indicate the place where Tathagat died. So where did Tathagat die? It was 3 or 4 leagues from the chief city. Okay, so northwest of the city. From northwest of the city, 3 or 4 leagues, that means 1 to 1.5 kilometers northwest of Korea Tola. Let's see where we go. My divider has been fixed at 500 meters, folks. 500 meters. Now let's see here. Here is your Korea Tola. And actually the village is, the name is here, the village is here, folks. The name is here, the village is here. Korea Tola. It's all the villagers writing the names. The names pop off, jump off a distance away. Anyway, the place is here. Let's see. From here it goes 1000 meters northwest. 500, 1000. See, from here it goes 500, 1000 meters northwest is Bada Padeua. Folks, Bada Padeua. Doesn't it sound like Mahaparinirvana? That is the spot Hyun Sang says the Buddha died. See, I will read it again, folks. I will read it again. To the northwest of the city, 3 or 4 li, that is around 1 kilometer, that is around 100 meters, crossing the Ajitavati Oshito Fati river on the western bank. Not far we come to a grove of sal trees. The sal tree is like the hoo tree with a greenish white bark and leaves, very glistening and smooth. In this wood are 4 trees of an unusual height which indicate the place where Tathagat died, folks. Tathagat died, the Mahaparinirvana Stupa, and what we see there is Bada Padeyua. Does it sound similar? So let's measure it again. Korea Tola is here, just across the river, and he goes 1000 meters northwest, 500, 1000 meters, Bada Padeyua. Now Bada Padeyua is the place where Tathagat died. Doesn't it sound Bada Padeyua? Doesn't it sound like Mahaparinirvana? Padeyua certainly sounds like Parinirvana. Now let's look up Mahaparinirvana in the Wikipedia. Let's compare Bada Padeyua with the Chinese. Chinese call it Bo Ni Pan. Bada Bo, Ni Pan, Pan Ni Padeyua. Now Khamar is Parek Nipian. That is Padeyua, Parek Nipian. Parek Uwa Nipian. See, these are all foreigners who are trying to pronounce Padeyua. Padeyua is a very twisty word. It is a tongue twister, and Biharis also can't pronounce it properly. So it took me a long time. This is why your Mahaparinirvana stupa was hidden from the world. Now Parek Nipian. Now see, Korean Bada, and this is Ban. So this is very similar. Koreans are quite an unusual band. See, Padeyua, Yol band. Padeyua, Yol band. Understand? Please don't laugh at me. Now this band is Bada. Now the Thai reclining Buddha of the Thai Parinirvana is Pang Parinifan. So Pang is Bada. Pang is a mispronunciation of Bada, and Pare, Nifan is outright Uwa gone haywire. Nifan is Uwa gone haywire. Bada, Padeyua, Nifan. Pang, Bada. Now, what do you call it? Bo Nipan, Bada Padeyua. Parek Nipian, Bada Padeyua. Ban Yol band. Yol is that EUWA. Understand? So this is wrong way round. Understand? So folks, you can see the similarities. Bada Padeyua is certainly your Mahaparinirvana stupa. Nowhere, none of these countries have used the word M. Maha for M. M for Maha. So Maha is actually a replacement of Bada. Understand? Some Indian acted too smart, and under British guardianship made it Mahaparinirvana. It is Bada Padeyua, folks. So now we can happily conclude that Bada Padeyua is the Mahaparinirvana stupa. It is exactly 1 kilometer northwest of Korea Tola. Okay, now let's see where Yun Sang takes us, and check out the video. Folks, I am now on the stupa called Bada Padeyua. Now this sounds distinctly just like Mahaparinirvana, and it is exactly 1000 meters, around 1 kilometer northwest of Korea Tola, which is Yun Sang's Kise na Kilo. Now folks, what do you call it? Bada Padeyua, it means lying down facing the north. Pare is lying down, and Uva is Uttarva, means facing the north. the Buddha lay down when he attained Mahaparinirvana. See, now the vehicle is going down. It's going down and 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 down. It is still going down. That was the what do you call it, parikrama, and it's still going down. This is a Muslim village now, folks. This is a Muslim village. Pareua means lying down facing the north. So, folks, Buddhist seems to have mispronounced this as Mahaparinirvana. So, folks, this is your Mahaparinirvana stupa. It is a Muslim village now. So, enjoy the first sight of Mahaparinirvana. There is here in the Mahaparinirvana, near the Mahaparinirvana stupa, there is here a great vihara in which is a figure of the Nirvana of Tathagat. He is lying with his head to the north as if asleep. That is what Pareyuva means. Pare means to lie, and Yuva means Uttarva, and up here Uttarva means north. So he is lying with his head to the north. With head to the north is Uttarva. Pareyuva is lying with the head to the north. By the side of this vihara is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja, etc. Okay. Now let's see where this other Pareyuva is, where he saw the statue of a Buddha, reclining Buddha with lying down with his head facing the north. See, this is Bada Pareyuva. Bada means big. Bada means huge, big, huge. And Pareyuva, Pare means to lie down, reclined. And Uva means Uttarva means lie down, reclined, facing northwards. That is the big one, the Bada. That is where the Buddha died. Now this is Chota Pareyuva. Chota Pareyuva, that is the place where the Hyun Sang saw the statue. Pareyuva, but the statue was lying with its head facing the north, folks. Now let's see where Hyun Sang takes us. So we can finally conclude that the great big brick vihara with the statue of the reclining Buddha in it is Chota Pareyuva. So folks, just remember, Chota Pareyuva is the great brick vihara. By the side of this vihara is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja, although in a ruinous state, yet it is some 200 feet in height. Folks, by the side of this vihara is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja, although in a ruinous state, it is some 200 feet in height. This is the Vishwa Hillock, folks. This is the Vishwa Hillock. Just check out the video. See, here you have Bada Pareyuva. Now by the side of this is a stupa, 200 feet high stupa Ashoka made to pinpoint the site of this stupa. I have noticed wherever I have gone, the Ashoka, the stupa he makes is generally 2 or 3 kilometers away from the main stupa. So folks, this I have seen in Isipatana, I have seen, this is up here. See, Bada Pareyuva and Vishwa Hillock up here. This is the 200 feet high stupa. And the next one, Chapkaya, will prove that this is the Ashokan stupa, and it is a mud stupa, and it is 100%. I have videographed many Ashokan stupas. It is an Ashokan stupa, no doubt. Let's see a close-up of it. See, this is Vishwa Hillock. See, it is, perfectly round, folks. Perfectly circular in shape. This is the, now it is not 200 feet high. It is around 50 feet high, but the locals say it was much higher. The mud was pilfered. See, it was a free for all. all these colonies that settled close by, they took mud from it. So the stupa is a bit stunted, but still it is around 50 feet high. Check out the video. This is Vishwa Hillock, the 200 feet high Ashokan stupa Ashoka made. Okay, now folks, here is the 200 feet high stupa Hyun Sang wrote about. Its name is Vishwa Hillock. It's known in Birganj as Vishwa Hillock. Folks, it isn't 200 feet high now, but it'll be around 50 to 55 feet in height. The locals say it was much higher, but the mud was pilfered for construction sites nearby. See, you can see the Nepal government has put Buddha statues up here. So they know it is some sort of Buddha statue. So actually it is Ashoka's stupa to mark the spot of the Mahaparinirvana. This is Vishwa Hillock, and this stupa was built. It is in the middle of Birganj town, and it was built to mark the spot where the Mahaparinirvana took place. Is around 1.5 to 2 kilometers south west from here. Now, you have all the places Hyun Sang mentions around here, like 2 kilometers to the 4 kilometers to the northeast is Khutwa Jabdi. Khutwa Jabdi, where the Buddha's dead body showed his feet to Kashyapa by force. And then you have Prasauni, where they cremated the Buddha. That is the Parinirvana stupa. And then you have Northern. Northern is around 2 kilometers southeast of here. That is where they divided the relics between 8 kings. And folks, to the southeast, around 2 kilometers southeast, you have Bada Padeyua, which is your Mahaparinirvana stupa, and close by you have Chapkaya, which is the name of the Ashokan pillar, which had something the story written, or Mahaparinirvana story written on it, Chapkaya. So folks, enjoy the view of Vishwa Hillock. It's pretty high still. It's 55 feet. It was much higher. The mud was pilfered, and basically you have it all here. The entire Mahaparinirvana story happened around here. So Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Thank you. By the side of this vihara is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja, although in a ruinous state, yet it is some 200 feet in height. Before it is a stone pillar to record the nirvana of Tathagat. See, before it is a stone pillar to record the nirvana of Tathagat. Although there is an inscription on it, yet there is no date as to year or month. So the catchword, see, all of Hyun Sang's, when Hyun Sang describes something, he gives a catchword in which the word, the meaning of the place's name is. Now up here there is an inscription on that pillar, but there is no date or as to year or month. So folks, there is an inscription describing the Buddha's Mahaparinirvana. Now, let's see where it is. You have Bada Padeyua, and here you have Vishwa Hillock, and he says before it, before means between Bada Padeyua and Vishwa Hillock, before it is a pillar which has an inscription, Chapkaya, Chapa hua, Chapa hua. Chapa means to write something, to something written, that is the inscription on that pillar, Chapkaya, before Vishwa Hillock, between Vishwa Hillock and Bada Padeyua is a pillar where, so you folks, you will find the remains of the pillar somewhere here under this village. I mean, this is a colony of Beerganj town. So you will find the pillar here, Chapkaya. Chapkaya means to, Chapna means to, something written. By the side of the Vihara. Now, what was the Vihara's name, folks? It was Chota Padeyua, in which there was a statue of a reclining Buddha with the head facing north. So, by the side of this Vihara of Chota Padeyua, and not far from it is a stupa. This denotes the place where Bodhisattva, when practicing a religious life, was born as a king of a flock of peasants and caused a fire to be put out. Formerly there was in this place a great and a shady forest where beasts and birds congregated and built their nests or dwelt in caverns. Suddenly a fierce wind burst from every quarter and a violent conflagration spread on every side. Now let's see where this place is. Yun Sang goes on to describe in this, it's a long story, that, what do you call it, a bird, he goes and he dives into the water, into a river, and then he goes over the fire and flutters his wings so that the fire is put off. But, and Sakra, king of Devas, comes down from heaven, and he sees the, what do you call it, crow fluttering its wings. So he says, yeah, how can you put off the fire? He starts laughing at the crow and says, how can you put off the fire? You are so tiny. The crow says, look, you are Sakra, king of Devas, and you have got the strength to put off the fire, but you are not doing so. The little I can do, I will do. So the crow continues. So Sakra, king of Devas, cups his hands and he picks up water and he puts off the fire. So folks, who is Sakra, king of Devas? Shankar, Shiva is Shankar. Shankar has been mispronounced here as Sakra. Shankar has been mispronounced here as Sakra, king of Devas. Shankar is Devo ka Dev, Mahadev. Mahadev means king of Devas. So this is Sakra is a mispronunciation of Shankar, king of Devas, Devo ka Dev, Mahadev. Let's see where this place is. He basically, Shankar or Sakra, king of Devas, loses to the crow. Let's see where the place is. So Chota Padeyua is the Vihara. Next to it is, see, Kaurihar Chowk. This is Kaurihar Chowk. This is Kaurihar, folks. Now Kaurihar means to lose to the crow. To lose to the crow. In that story I narrated, where the crow dives into the river and sprinkles water over the forest to douse the flames, Sakra, king of Devas, laughs at the crows. But the crow continues. He says, Sakra, you have got the strength to do it and you have got the power to do it, but you are not doing it. So the crow continues sprinkling water. So finally Sakra agrees and he douses the flames with lots of water. So folks, this is Kaurihar, to lose to the crow. Kauri means crow. Har means to lose. Kaurihar means to lose to the crow. So folks, Sakra, king of Devas, was certainly a mispronunciation of Shankar, king of Devas. Now if you, translate Devo ka Dev, Mahadev into English, it will become king of Devas. Mahadev, Devo ka Dev, Mahadev will become king of Devas. So Sakra, king of, that means Shankar came here and he doused the flames. This is Kaurihar Stupa. Now let's see where Yun Sang takes us. Now by the side of Kauri Har, not far off is a stupa. On this spot, Bodhisattva, when practicing a religious life, being at that time a deer, saved living creatures. In very remote times, this was a great forest. A fire burnt out in the wild grass that grew on it. The birds and beasts were sorely distressed. Before them was the barrier of a swiftly flowing river. Behind them, the calamity of the raging fire which barred their escape. There was no help for it but to plunge into the water, and there drowned. They perished. This deer, moved by pity, placed his body across the stream, which lashed his sides and broke his bones. Lashed his sides is the catchword up here. The name of the stupa is here, the lashed. Whilst he strove with all his strength to rescue the drowning creatures, a worn out hare coming to the bank, the deer with patience bearing his pain and fatigue got him safely across, but his strength being now worn out, he was engulfed in the water and died. The devas and gods, the devas collected the bones and raised this stupa. Understand, folks? And when raised this, you have Kauri Har here. Kauri Har was the stupa where the crow won. I mean, Sakra, king of Devas, lost to the crow. Kauri Har. Near it is the place where there was a raging fire next to a river. On one side was the river, and behind the river was the fire. And a lot of animals were stuck. Folks, now the animals wanted to cross over to safety. A deer lay down here, and the waters lashed at his body. That is called dhangarwa. Dhangna means to lash at something. Dhangna means to lash at something. That is Dhangarwa Kauri Har. Dhangarwa is the village. Check out the stupa, folks. It's a village now. What do you call it? This is the place where the deer king, the Buddha in his previous life as a deer, he lay in the water, and so that all the animals could cross over. The animals that crossed over are the human beings who heard his law and crossed over and led good lives. And in the end, a hare crossed over. That was Subhadra, who was his last disciple, folks. So this is Dhangarwa Kauri Har. This is the stupa. Okay, now folks, you can see how damaged this road is. I am going back to Raxaul, and this village you see in the distance amongst the fields, that is Dhangarwa village, folks. That is Dhangarwa village. Now this is the place, this is the stupa actually. The village has settled down on the stupa and kept the name alive. Dhangarwa. Dhangarwa means to get beaten up. Dhangarwa means to get beaten up to such an extent that a person can die, to get beaten up very dangerously. So this is the place where the story of the deer king took place. So basically, the Buddha in his previous life, according to Hyun Sang, the Buddha in his previous life was a deer king. And one day there was a forest fire, and the animals were trapped between a raging river with very strong currents and the forest fire behind them. There was no escape. So the animals were trapped. The deer king felt sorry for them and decided to save them. So the deer king, he went and he lay down in the stream and allowed his body to get battered. That is what Dhangarwa means. He allowed his body to get battered, and his bones broke, but he bore the pain and continued lying. And the animals hopped over him, over his body into onto the safety of the other side of the river. Now, folks, the last animal to cross was a hare, a tiny hare. It crossed over to safety. Now, this story is very descriptive. Is actually the Buddha saving the people through his lovely law, through his excellent law. And the animals hopping over his body to safety are the humans who heard his law, and they went and started leading a proper life. The hare in the end is Subhadra. Subhadra, the roamer, the hare represents him. See, so he is a tiny creature up here who hops over to safety. So, folks, enjoy the village, the stupa, what you call it, called Dhangarwa, and now to the west of this place, by this place he means Dhangarwa Kauriyard. Now to the west of Dhangarwa Kauriyard, not far off, is a stupa. This is where Subhadra Shenshin died. Subhadra was the last disciple to be personally converted by the Buddha. So this is the place where did Subhadra die? To the west of Dhangarwa Kauriyard. So let's check it out. Subhadra was originally a Brahman priest. He was 120 years age. Being so old, he had acquired in consequence much wisdom. Hearing that Buddha was about to die, he came to the two sal trees and asked Anand for permission. Okay? Now let's see where Subhadra died. Now, how did Subhadra die? This is important. Then Subhadra, leaving his home, immediately took full orders as a priest, thus applying himself with all diligence. He vigorously disciplined both body and mind, and so being freed from all doubts, in the middle of the night of the Buddha's nirvana, not long after the interview, he obtained in the fruit and became an arhat without any imperfection. Before being thus perfected in purity, he could not bear to wait Buddha's death, great nirvana, but in the midst of the congregation, entering the samadhi of fire limit. So he burnt himself. He entered the samadhi of fire limit, and after remember, he burnt himself. And after that, after displaying his spiritual capabilities, he first entered nirvana. He was thus the very last convert of Tathagat and the first to enter nirvana. So there were two specialities of Subhadra. He was the last convert and the first to enter nirvana. So two specialities, and this is the same as the hare who was last saved in the story that has just been told. So folks, Subhadra was represented by that hare in that Jataka tale. So let's see the fire limit. This is the catchword. Okay, now folks, here you have your Dhangarwa, where the deer king died. Exactly west of it is up here. It's a bit slightly above west, but it is to the west. West of Dhangarwa is Jokhiyari. Jokhiyari is the fire limit in which Subhadra died. Jokhiyari. Kiari is the boundaries of boundary of anything. Kiari is a boundary, and so that is the limit. And Jokhna to burn in fire. Jhokna, aag mein jhokna, to burn in fire. So Jokiari is the fire limit Yun Sang speaks about, and it's exactly west of Dhangarwa, folks. See, they are all words. Yeah, you have to decipher them. Their words are sitting there. The stupas are sitting there. The stupa is here, folks. The name is here. The stupa is here. So this is Jokiari. Jokiari means, Jhokna means to, what do you call it, burn in fire. And Kiari is the boundary, that is the fire boundary, the fire limit. So this is where Subhadra definitely died. And just below it you see Dumariya. Dumariya, Maria means death. Maria means death. See, all stupas, all the stupas, the stupa was meant to be prayed to. And there was always a Sangrama nearby in which pilgrims and all could relax and monks could meditate. So this is the Dumariya will be the Sangrama for Jokiari, which is the fire limit Yun Sang speaks of, folks. And the next one which is Chikni will prove that this is Subhadra's stupa where he put himself on fire. The name is here, but it's here. So folks, this is the fire limit. And Dumariya, Maria means death. So Dumariya means is the Sangrama which looked after this stupa, folks. Okay, now folks, I am in Jokiari village, which is exactly west of Dhangarwa, where the deer story took place. Now you see how accurate Yun Sang was. How you can see how accurate he was. Exactly west is Jokiari. Jokiari means Jhokna. Jhokna means aag mein jhokna. Aag mein jhokna means to burn in fire. And Kiari means the boundary. Kiari means the boundary. So Yun Sang says, what do you call it? Subhadra died. This is the place for where Subhadra died. This is the stupa, Jokiari stupa. So where Subhadra died, he died with the fire limit. He burnt himself up, folks. It seems he burnt himself up. So he died with the fire limit. That is exactly what Jokiari means. Jokiari means jhokna, aag mein jhokna, and Kiari means the, what do you call it, boundary. That means that is the limit, that is the fire limit. So folks, and north of this is Chikni, which Yun Sang calls Chinking Can. And you have Domariya south of here, which was the Sangrama which looked after this stupa and where pilgrims relaxed. So folks, this is Jokiari where Subhadra died. Subhadra, he committed suicide the same day as the Buddha died. Subhadra was originally a Brahman teacher. He was 120 years of age. Being so old, he had acquired in consequence much wisdom. Hearing the Buddha was about to die, he came to the two Sara trees and asked Anand, saying, "The Lord is about to die. Pray, let me ask him respecting some doubts I have." So this is the doubts he had. Now, what do you call it? Subhadra, he had a habit of roaming. So basically, they would call the Bihari word, the local word for roaming is Baukna. So his nickname was Bakhuraiya. Now the doubt, he had a doubt. There is a stupa where he questioned Anand about the doubt for permission to meet the Buddha. So the stupa's name is Subhadra's doubt. So basically in the local language it is Bakhuraiya. So Bakhua Brahm. So folks, this is, check out the stupa. You have here Jokiari which is the fire limit where Subhadra died. You have Bada Paderuva, that is the Mahaparinirvana stupa. And you have up here Bhakua Brahm. Bhakua Brahm. Bhakua means the roamer and Brahm means the doubt of the roamer. Brahm means the doubt and Bhakua means the roamer. So together it is the doubt of the roamer. So this is Subhadra where he had a doubt. He was a roamer and this is where he had a doubt, and this is the place where he asked Anand for permission to question the Buddha. Now for such an important stupa as Bhakua Brahm or the doubt of the roamer, there is a Sangrama nearby to look after the stupa. See, this is Tumariya. Tumariya, Mariya means death. Now Tumariya, see, you notice Tumariya is the Sangrama for Bhakua Brahm, and Dumariya is the Sangrama for Jokhiyari. So both Jokhiyari and Bhakua Brahm are Subhadra's stupas. So the Sangramas have a very similar name, Tumariya and Dumariya. Don't you find it unique, folks? So folks, this is certainly Jokhiyari is the fire limit, and Bhakua Brahm is the doubt of the roamer. So folks, enjoy the video. I will enlarge the picture. Okay, it's on the river side. See, here it is. The ghat is here. Here you get a full view of the ghat, and it's on the river side, folks. This is the stupa. See, it is on the river side. You can see the steps going up over there. So this is Bhakua Brahm, the doubt of Subhadra, the roamer's doubt, folks. So now you have Jokhiyari and you have Bhakua Brahm, that is the roamer's doubt. And then you have another stupa in the name of the roamer, that is Bhakuraiya. Bhakuraiya, folks. So Bhakuraiya means the roamer. It simply means the roamer. This is definitely Subhadra's relic stupa, folks. This is definitely Subhadra's relic stupas, because the Buddha's relic stupas of Korea Tola, which people know as Kushinagar, Korea Tola, the relic stupas are up here. The original recipient of the relics and Ashoka's stupa, they are both here, and you have Bhakuraiya, that is Subhadra's relic stupa. You have all three relic stupas here, folks. Now the next stop of Yun Sang is proof that Jokhiyari is the fire limit stupa where Subhadra burned himself. Bhakua Brahm is the stupa where the roamer had a question and the doubt of the roamer. And then you have Bhakuraiya, folks. Just north of Jokhiyari is Chikni. Chikni proves that Jokhiyari is Subhadra's fire limit stupa. Folks, Chikni, let's see what Yun Sang and Siyuki have to say about it. Now, beside the stupa of Subhadra's Nirvana, that was either Dumariya or Jokhiyari, is a stupa. This is the place where the Vajrapani Chi Kin Can. Now this sounds very similar to Chikni. Chi Kin Can fell fainting on the earth. So this is the place where the Vajrapani Chi Kin Kang fell fainting on the earth. So folks, the great merciful Lord of the world, having according to the condition of the persons concerned, finished his work of converting the world, entered on the joy of nirvana. So this is where the Vajrapani fell fainting on the ground. That is Ching. So this is Dumaria, this is Jokiari, this is Chikni. Doesn't it sound similar to Chi King Kang? Let's decipher the word. Let's decipher the word. See, this is Chikni. Chikni. I have broken up into three parts so that it is similar to Chi, Yun Science Chi Kin Can. Now Chikni, Chi Ke Ni. Chikni, Chi Ke Ni. Now Chi Kin Kang. Now Chikni can be also spelled Chikani. Chikani. So basically, see, you have the Chi in all three. You have it in Yun Sang, in Chikani and Chikni. So you have the Chi in all three. Now you have up here Chikni. Now there's a little bit difference from these two, but there is a lot of similarity between these two. See, Chi Kin Can, Chikani. K-A-N, K-A-N. See, K-A-N-G, K-A-N. Can and K-I-N, K-I-N. So basically, Chi King Kang is a hodgepodge of Chikni. You have it all, Chi, and then you have K-A-N, K-A-N, K-I-N, K-I-N. It's a hodgepodge of Chikni, Chi King Kang. So, Chikni is Yun Sang's Chi King Kang. So we can finally and round it up by saying that Chikni is definitely Yun Sang's Chi King Kang. And it was next to Subhadra's Nirvana, and it's next to Jokiari. Jokiari means dangerous, to take risky. And basically here is Dumaria. So I think a second option is Jokiari, and Chikni is certainly Yun Sang's Chi Kin Can. Now let's see where he takes us after this. By the side where the diamond mace holders fell to the earth is a stupa. So where did the diamond mace holders fall to the earth? That is Chi Kin Can or Chikni. Now by the side of that is a stupa. This is the place where for 7 days after the Buddha had died, they offered religious offerings. When Tathagat was about to die, a brilliant light shone everywhere. Okay. Now where did they keep Tathagat's body for 7 days? Next to Chi Kin Can or Chikni. This is the place where for 7 days after Buddha had died, they offered religious offerings. So that is Raksol, folks. So you have Chikni here, Chinkin Can, Yun Sang's Chinkin Can. He says close to it, next to it, is a stupa. See, you have Bada Padeyuwa here. Actually, the name is here, the stupa is down here. Bada Padeyuwa, the stupa is down here. And this is your, where they detain the body for 7 days. That is Raksol. The name is here, the stupa is here. The name Raksol is here, but the stupa is here. This is a jewelry market on top of the stupa. This is where the body was detained for 7 days. Now let's decipher Raksol. The Raksol is Raksal. Raksal. Rak means to keep and Sal means between sal trees. So this is rak sal means to keep between sal trees. Raksol is rak sal, to keep between sal trees. So the body was detained between sal trees for 7 days while people paid homage to it and offered offerings. Folks, check out the video and let's see what else Yun Sang shows me. Okay, now folks, I am in Raksol Stupa, and basically it's a very big stupa. Raksol means Raksal. This is the main, Raksol. So you see, it's all jewelry shops around here, only jewelry shops on your Raksal Stupa. Now, Raksol is actually Raksal, to keep between sal trees. Yun Sang says east of Chikni is the place where they detained the body for 7 days. See, the stupa goes down there, and the stupa goes down there. Now it's a huge stupa. The east of Chikni is the place where they detained the body for 7 days. So that is Raksal. See how it's a huge stupa, it's going down all the way down there. And now look, this is the highest point. You will see inside this gully, inside this alley, you see it's gone a bit higher. So that will be the spot where they detained the body for 7 days, folks. So this is Raksal. Raksal means to keep between sal trees. So this is the place where they detained the body for 7 days. Folks, just close by is Gahawa Mai temple, where it is said, not the Theravada Buddhists, the Mahayana Buddhists say the dead mother, see over there, the dead mother of the Buddha came and cried over the dead body, and the body sat up and preached to her. So basically there was a lot of wind and thunderstorms when this thing happened, when the dead mother came. So folks, you can see, and then you have Chapkaya nearby, the pillar called Chapkaya, and you can see this is the highest point in the stupa. And this is your Raksal, means to keep between sal trees. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. That. By the side of the place where the coffin was detained is a stupa. This is where the Queen Mahamaya wept for Buddha. So by the side of the place where the coffin was detained, now that is Raksal. Raksal, that is where the coffin was detained for 7 days. Is a stupa. This is where the Queen Mahamaya wept for Buddha. Now, Tathagat having departed and his body being laid in the coffin, then Aniruddha ascending to the heavenly mansions addressed the Queen Maya and said, the supremely holy Lord of religion has now died. Maya, having heard of it, suppressed her sobs and with the body of Devas came to the 2 sal trees. Seeing the Sangha robe and the Patra and the religious staff, she embraced them as she recognized each and then ceased a while to act till once again with loud accent she cried, the happiness of men and gods is done, the world's eyes put out, all things are desert without a guide. So folks, this is the stupa where the dead mother of the Buddha, Mahamaya, came like the wind. Basically in Bihar, they say the ghostly person is like the wind. They call a ghost a wind. They don't call ghosts a ghost. So Mahamaya, I mean her ghost came and wept over the dead body. Let's see where the stupa is. Now folks, we have just left Raxaul, and I am traveling on the exact route. We have just crossed the India-Nepal border, and I'm traveling on the exact route. The procession took northwards with the Buddha's coffin. The procession went northwards. This is the route, folks. This is the exact route. The Buddha went north. The procession went northwards with the coffin, and at Murli Chowk they turned east and went to Khutwa Jabdi, which the Buddhists mispronounce as Kutum Bandhana. Kutum Bandhana is Khutwa Jabdi. So folks, now Yun Sang says just next to where the stupa where the Buddha got attained his Mahaparinirvana is a stupa where his dead mother came like the wind and cried over his body. That is Ga Hawa Mai temple, which is before us. I will be videographing it. So folks, just now I have entered Birganj exactly on the route the funeral procession of the Mallas of the Buddha took to the cremation ground, to the Mallas meeting hall, Kutum Bandhana, that is Khutwa Jabdi, and Parsauni village where they cremated him. Parsauni sounds very similar to Parinirvana. Parsauni sounds very similar to Parinirvana, folks. You have Raxaul here. This is where they detained the body for 7 days, and this is Bada Padeyua. This is up here, the Mahaparinirvana Stupa. This is where they detained the body for 7 days. That is Chikni Chi Kang. Now, what do you call it? They take the body northwards. They take the body northwards, and see here, this is Mai Sthan Chowk. Mai means mother. Mai Sthan, the place of the mother. And there is a temple here called Ga Hawa Mai temple. Ga Hawa Mai. Hawa means ghost. The Hawa Mai means ghostly mother. So folks, check out the video. Check out the video. Okay folks, now I am standing right in the middle of the route the procession took. The Buddha's funeral procession took from Raxaul. See the road. This is the procession, the funeral procession of the Buddha came up this way from Raxaul, and it continued north till Murli Chowk, where it turned to the east to Mukuta Bandhana, that is Khutwa Jabdi up here. And they burnt the body, they cremated him in Parsauni, that is 1 kilometer south of Khutwa Jabdi or Kutum Bandhana. So folks, this is Ga Hawa Mai temple right in the middle of that funeral procession. Yun Sang says, see, Ga Hawa Mai temple. This means the mother that came like the wind. The mother that came like the wind. Basically, Yun Sang says, next to the Mahaparinirvana stupa is a stupa where Mahamaya, the dead mother of the Buddha, came down and wept over the dead body. So, this is according to Mahayana Buddhism. The Theravada Buddhists do not believe this, I think, because it's not mentioned in the Mahaparinirvana. Now, folks, Hyun Sang says it is a stupa next to the Mahaparinirvana stupa where the dead mother of the Buddha came like the wind. That is Ga Hawa. Hawa means wind. Ga Hawa. See, basically in Bihar we don't call a ghost. We call a ghostly figure the wind. So that is Ga Hawa Mai, the wind, the ghostly mother, or the mother like the wind. So basically this is the stupa. You can see the temple is on high ground. It is no doubt on a stupa. In fact, the road goes down there, and the road goes down there. So, and the temple itself is on the dome of the stupa. See, we are standing on the stupa. The road goes down. And the temple is on the dome of the stupa. You see all the steps going up to it. Now it has been hijacked by Hindus who claim it is Ga Hawa is Durga temple, folks. This isn't a Durga temple. Ga Hawa cannot be a Durga temple. This temple is on ancient ground, and basically Durga prayer started here around 150 years ago. She came with the Indian Railways. So folks, this is right in the middle of the funeral procession of the Buddha. The route they took, see, from there they came from Raxaul and then they went to Murli Chowk straight. Thank you, folks. To the north of the city, after crossing the river and going 300 paces or so, there is a stupa. This is the place where they burnt the body of Tathagat. The earth is now of a blackish yellow from a mixture of earth and charcoal. Whoever with true faith seeks here and prays, he is sure to find some relics of Tathagat. So to the north of the city, to the north of Koiria Tola, after crossing the river and going 300 paces or so, there is a stupa. Okay? Now let's see where it is. Now this is my Sthan Chowk, where the Ga Hawa Mai temple is. This is where the Buddha sat up and preached to his dead mother. Now, what do you call it? From here, Hyun Sang takes you to the place where the cremation ground. So, according to the Mahaparinirvana story, they go north and then turn east. So, folks, this is Murli Chowk. Murli means turn. See, where do you get a crossroad which means turn? And moreover, what do you call it? Here is Murli Chowk, and you see this road up here. From here, the funeral procession went east. So this is slightly northeast, and then they turn east. So this is Murli Chowk. Check out the video. Okay, now folks, I am in the middle of Birganj. I am in Murli Chowk. Murli Chowk. Now in the Mahaparinirvana story, the Buddha died between two sal trees in Raxaul. They kept his body there for 7 days. And then the funeral procession came north. Folks, this is the road. दिखाइए रोड को. This is the road. ये राजमार्ग है. जी हाँ. This is the road. The funeral procession came. And over there, I showed you Ga Hawa Mai Mandir, where the Mahayana Buddhists say the dead mother
came like the wind, and then they continued north, and in the Mahaparinirvana they turned east. Folks, this is Murli Chowk. Murli means turn. Murli Chowk means turn. Now, where in the world will you get a crossroad with the name turn? Turn here. Where in the world will you get a crossroad with the name turn here? So this is Murli Chowk. It is turn here. This was for the ancient pilgrims who came on the Buddha's footsteps. And folks, this is the route. The funeral procession to आइए. This is the route. आइए जल्दी. If you see it in satellite pictures, this goes straight to Khutwa Jabdi. Khutwa Jabdi, what the Buddhists mispronounce as Mukutta Bandhana in the Mahaparinirvana story. So it goes straight to Khutwa Jabdi, Mukutta Bandhana, and they cremate the body in Parsauni. That is your Mahaparinirvana. Parsauni is your Mahaparinirvana 1000 feet away from the OCT Party River of Yunzang. So folks, this is the route the funeral procession took. And have a last view of Murli Chowk, where the funeral procession came north and they turned east in Murli Chowk. Thank you, folks. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami.
From Murli Chowk, they go east along, see this thin line from that crossroad, that thin line, it goes slightly northeast and then east again. And here is Prasauni. This is where the name is here, the stupa is here, folks. The name is there, but the stupa is there. Prasauni sounds very similar to your Parinirvana. Prasauni sounds similar to your Parinirvana. Prasauni means fast asleep. And this sounds similar to your Parinirvana. See, the Buddha, they don't say he died. They said it was his Parayuva where he died. And now where they burnt him is Prasauni. They did not say they cremated him, they said it is his Prasauni, which you have mispronounced as Parinirvana. And he said it was 300 paces from a river. See, the river is here. This line is the river. And Prasauni, this is exactly 300 paces, around 750 or 800 feet. So this is around 800 feet. I have measured it, folks. So check out your Parinirvana, I mean where the Tathagat's cremation ground. Check out the video. This is Prasauni.
Okay, folks, now this is my present to the Buddhists. I am in Prasauni. Prasauni. Now remember, Murli Chowk is that side. And the road comes straight from here. दिखाइए जरा सा रास्ता. The road comes straight from Murli Chowk to Prasauni. Now this road goes to Khutwa Jabdi, which your Buddhists mispronounce as Mukutta Bandhana. Mukutta Bandhana, that is Khutwa Jabdi, where the Buddha showed the dead body, showed his feet to Kashyap, possibly. Now, just look at this. This is on top of the stupa, the road goes down. And the road goes down there, we are on top of a perfect Ashokan stupa. And basically, this is my present to the Buddhists. Mahaparinirvana, it matches with Parsauni. Parinirvana seems to be a mispronunciation of Barsauni. So folks, this is the exact spot where they cremated the Buddha's body. From Murli Chowk, they took the body to Kutwa Jabdi, which was the Malla's meeting hall, and they prepared it over there. And then they brought it here to Barsauni. Mahaparinirvana, this is the last story of Mahaparinirvana. The body was burnt here, folks. So this is hallowed ground. Today it's a highway. It is hallowed ground. Lord Buddha died here. Thank you, folks. Remember, this is Barsauni and Mahaparinirvana. The two words sound very similar. Parinirvana seems to be a mispronunciation of Barsauni. Thank you. यहाँ से
1 किलोमीटर।
हाँ
1 किलोमीटर।
1 किलोमीटर नहीं, हम नापे हैं 1000 फुट की दूरी में है। 1000 फुट। हाँ हाँ भाई 1000 फुट का दूरी में है। ये कौन नदी है? Dudhaura. The river which Yun Sang says, this is 300 paces, that is 1000 feet. And people say that the river is 1000 feet to the east of here. 1000 feet up there. ये लगता है कोई पुल होते हुए टप जाता है। हाँ, so thank you folks. Here it is. Everything matches Yun Sang. There is no right or left. Thank you. This is Udhaura river. This is next to Kutwa Jabdi. This is next to Kutwa Jabdi. I suspect this is the place where Yun Sang came. Kutwa Jabdi means to show the feet by force. So I think this is the on the banks of this river, somewhere on this area, they burnt Lord Buddha's body up, and they cremated his body, and then they divided the relics in Vishwa Stupa, Vishwa Hillock. So हम चेहरा आए ना बहुत आगे नीचे. So see, this is the river. This is Nepal river. Yeah, I am in Nepal. I am in Birganj, and this water comes. Lord Buddha was cremated up here, folks. This is my take. This is my Birganj. Okay.
By the side of the place of cremation is a stupa, here Thathagat. By the side of the place of cremation is a stupa, here Tathagat, for Kasyapa's sake, revealed his feet. So this is for here Tathagat, for Kasyapa's sake, revealed his feet. When Tathagat was in this golden coffin and the oil poured on it and the wood piled up, the fire would not enkindle. When all the beholders were filled with fear and doubts, Aniruddha spoke, "We must await Kashyapa." At this time, Kashyap with 500 followers from out of the forest came to Kushinagara and asked Anand, saying, "Can I behold Tathagat's body?" Anand said, "Swathed in 1,000 napkins enclosed within a heavy coffin with scented wood piled up, we are about to burn it." At this time, Buddha caused his feet to come out from the coffin. So this is the Buddha possibly took out his feet to come out from the coffin. So Kashyapa paid homage to it. So the stupa, the catchword in this story is the Buddha took out his feet forcibly. so that Kashyapa could pay homage to it. And this was just next to the cremation spot where they prepared the body for cremation. So this is Prasauni, the stupa where they burnt, they cremated the Buddha. It is 700 to 800 feet from the river. This is the Dhaurani river, which Yun Sang calls Kinho. And this is Prasauni. Now, where is the place where the Buddha took out his feet forcibly? Khutwa Jabdi. It is just next to Prasauni, around half a kilometer away. Khutwa Jabdi. Khutwa means feet, Jabdi means forcibly. So this is the place where they prepared the body for the Buddha for cremation, and they waited for Kashyapa. When the Kashyapa came, he asked Anand to open the cloth that in which the Buddha was wrapped, and Anand refused. So the dead body forcibly took out its feet. So this is Khutwa Jabdi, means to forcibly take out feet. Khutwa means feet and Jabdi means forcibly. And this is, folks, just next to that river, around 700 feet from the Dhaurani river. So you have Prasauni also, where they cremated the body of Parinirvana, around 700 feet from the river. And you have Khutwa Jabdi also, around 700 feet from the river. Now let's see, check out the video, folks. Check out the video of Khutwa Jabdi.
चलो
जरा सा दिखाइए जरा सा रोड को. Folks, I am in Khutwa Jabdi. Khutwa Jabdi. This is the second time I have come to take this video. Now, this is for Buddhists. Khutwa Jabdi sounds very similar to Mukutta Bandhana. Mukutta Bandhana. In the Mahaparinirvana story, they say that they took the funeral procession took the coffin north, and then they turned east. So they turned east in Murli Chowk. And here we are in Khutwa Jabdi. Khutwa Jabdi means to show. Khutwa means feet. Jabdi means Jabardasti. So to show the feet by force. And this word tallies, I mean, it sounds similar to Mukutta Bandhana. So Mukutta Bandhana is a Buddhist mispronunciation of Khutwa Jabdi. Now folks, look, the road has come up as this cycle. That is the highest point of the road. And then, Pandit ji, yahan dikhaiye. And then see, the road has gone down again. The road has gone down again. So basically we are on top of Khutwa Jabdi Stupa. The villagers have settled down on top of it and they have kept the name alive. This is where they prepared the body for, cremation, where Kashyapa paid obeisance to the feet. Kashyapa paid obeisance to the feet. Feet means Khutwa. Khutwa, this is Khutwa. So basically, this is the stupa. And folks, aye. This is the exact spot. This is the highest point of the stupa, and this is the exact spot where Kashyapa paid obeisance to the Buddha's feet. Mahaparinirvana Kutumba Bandhana is Khutwa Jabdi, folks. So here it is. They from Raxal, they took the body north to Murli Chowk, and in Murli Chowk they turned east, and they came here to Khutwa Jabdi. This was the Malla's preaching hall where they prepared the body, folks. So this is for Buddhists. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Thank you.
By the side of the place where he showed his feet is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja. This is the place where the 8 kings shared the relics. So this is the relic dividing stupa. By the side of the place where he showed his feet, that is Khutwa Jabdi, where he showed his feet, is a stupa built by Ashoka Raja. This is the place where the 8 kings shared the relics. Now 8 kings and the Brahman who shared the relics, he took a share. So there are 9 sharers of the relics. In front of it is built a stone pillar on which is written an account of this event. So folks, let's see where is the relic dividing stupa, where they divide the relics between the 8 kings and the Brahman. See, Khutwa Jabdi is the place where the body forcibly showed its feet. Now by the side of Khutwa Jabdi is Nautan. This is the relic dividing stupa. Relic dividing. See, Prasauni is here, Khutwa Jabdi is here, Nautan here. This is the relic dividing stupa. Nau means 9. So there are 8 kings and 1 Brahman who divide the relics. So there are 9 people who divided the relics. Now Tan. Tan means adamant people. So there are 9 adamant people. The 8 kings and the Brahman who divide the relics. That means they are 9. Tan means adamant. So there are 9 adamant people. This is the relic dividing stupa, folks. Actually, this is the relic dividing stupa, Nautan, but the pillar is here. The pillar, Yun Sang said, is here. This is the stupa next to Khutwa Jabdi. Okay? The stupa is here, and this is the pillar, Nautan, folks. Now let's see where, the next stupa is the place where Rahul the Buddha's son was last seen. That is proof that this area is the Mahaparinirvana area, which the entire area which I showed you. To the southwest of the relic dividing stupa is Nautan. The relic dividing stupa is Nautan, which I just showed you. To the southwest of the relic dividing stupa, going 200 li or so, we come to a great village. Here lived a Brahman of eminent wealth and celebrity, deeply learned in all pure literature, versed in the 5 Vidyas, acquainted with the 3 treasures, Pitakas. By the side of his home, he had built a priest's house and had used all his wealth to adorn it with magnificence. If by chance any priests in their travels stopped on their way, he asked them to halt and used all his means to entertain them. They might stop one night or even throughout 7 days. So basically, this is the Brahman who last saw Rahul the Buddha's son. After this, Sasank Raja, having destroyed the religion of Buddha, the members of the priesthood were dispersed and for many years driven away. The Brahman nevertheless retained for them through all an undying regard. So this Brahman, despite that this is Sasank Raja, this was a Hindu-Buddhist war, and Sasank Raja had chased away all the priesthood of the Buddhists. But despite that, this Brahman respected the Buddhists. And one day, he meets an old Sramana. Understand? The Brahman nevertheless retained for them through all an undying regard. As he was walking, he chanced to see a Sramana with thick eyebrows and shaven head, holding his staff, coming along. The Brahman hurried up to him and meeting him asked, "Whence come you?" and besought him to enter the priest's abode and receive his charity. Now this was Rahul, folks. It's a very long story. He feeds Rahul, and the Sramana, having taken a mouthful, thereupon returned it to his alms bowl with a great sigh. But he returned the mouthful to the alms bowl with a great sigh. The Brahman who supplied the food, prostrating himself, said, "Eminent sir, is there any reason why you should not remain with me one night? Is not the food agreeable?" The Sramana graciously answering said, "I pity the feeble merit possessed by the world, but let me finish my meal and I will speak to you." And speak to you. After finishing his food, he gathered up his robe as if to go. The Brahman said, "Your reverence agreed to speak with me. Why then are you silent?" The Sramana said, "I have not forgotten, but to talk with you is irksome and the circumstances likely to create doubt, but yet I will tell you in short, in brief. When I sighed, it was on second account of your offering of rice, for during many hundreds of years I have not tasted such food. When Tathagat was living in the world, I was a follower of his when he dwelt in the Venuvan Vihara near Rajgriha, holy Shikili it was stooping down, I washed his patra in the pure stream of the river. There I filled his pitcher. There I gave him water for cleansing his mouth. But alas, the milk you now offer is not like the sweet water of old. It is because of the religious merit of devas and men have diminished that this is the case." The Brahman then said, "Is it possible that you yourself have ever seen the Buddha?" The Sramana replied, "Have you never heard of Rahula, Buddha's own son? I am he. Because I desire to protect the true law, I have not yet entered Nirvana." So this is the place where Rahul was last seen, folks. Rahul was last seen. Nirvana. Having spoken thus, he suddenly disappeared. Then the Brahman swept and watered the chamber he had used and placed there a figure of him which he reverenced as though he were present. So he reverenced as though he were present. Now this is the dealing with the Buddha's son, Rahul. He was last seen here by this Brahman. Now this is where 200 leagues, that is 56 kilometers to the southwest of the relic dividing stupa, going 200 li or so, we come to a great village. Okay, this is the place where the Brahman last saw the Buddha. Let's check it out in the satellite picture. I have fixed my divider at 20 kilometers. Now let's measure. Here is Khutwa Jabdi, and that dot next to it is Prasauni, and that dot next to it is Nautan. So let's measure southwest from northern. 200 leagues is around 50 kilometers, folks. 52 kilometers. Now let's see. 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers, see. 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers, and 50 kilometers, folks, is Betia. 50 kilometers. Let's see again. Look at this, is unique. This means India was mapped when Yun Sang came here. See, how does he give his distances so accurately? South 200 leagues, 52, around 52 kilometers south west. Now here 20, 40 and around 52 kilometers is Betia. Now Betia is Betwa. Betia seems to be the ancient rendering of Betwa. Betwa means sun. So Betia means sun. Betia means sun, Betwa. So this is the place where Rahul was last seen. So folks, this is the place where Rahul was last seen, and the next stupa will prove this, because the next stupa is the Isipatana stupa. Now, let's see the close-up of Betia. See folks, this is the close-up of Betia. This is a playground where all these political meetings and all take place. It's called Bada Ramna. Bada Ramna. This is the original name of the place. And this is Santavan Das Mutt. Santavan Das. Now, if you remove the W, someone added the W. If you remove the W, it becomes Santan Das. Now, Santan Das means the steward of the sun, the servant of the sun. See that Brahman who made a statue of Rahul, and he looked after it as though he was its follower. The follower means Das, D-A-S. Das is the follower. Santan means son. So follower of the sun, Santan Das Mutt. It was the vihara, it was the guest house the Brahman had made. Check out the video. Now folks, I have showed you all the sites. Bada Padeyua, the Mahaparinirvana Stupa, Khutwa Jabdi, where he first showed his feet, Northern, the relic dividing Stupa, and then I have showed you Betia, where the Buddha's son was last seen, and this is Santavan Das Mutt in Betia, where the Buddha's son was last seen. Now, you have Kushinagar here, slightly southwest of Betia. Kushinagar, what do you have in Kushinagar? You have nothing over there. And Kushinagar is a concocted name. They changed the name of a place called the British, they deciphered Yun Sang's Q, Kui, Shi, Na, Ki, Lo as Kushinagar, and then they changed the name of a place called, this place is called Kasya Bazar, folks. This place is called Kasya Bazar. They changed it to Kushinagar. So, in fact, I will show you report of the UP government. This is in the state of UP. The UP government, what it has to say about Kushinagar. See, this is a statement by the UP government under whose jurisdiction Kushinagar belongs. Kushinagar and Kasya Bazar is a town and a historical place located in the northeastern marginal area of Uttar Pradesh. The name Kasya Bazar has been changed to Kushinagar, folks. So Kushinagar isn't the original name. This is the UP government statement. The name Kasia Bazar has been changed to Kushinagar, and after that Kasia Bazar has officially become a municipality with the name Kushinagar. So now Kushinagar has superseded Kasia Bazar, so that Kasia Bazar has become a municipality with the name Kushinagar. This is a Buddhist pilgrimage where Gautam Buddha had Mahaparinirvana. Kushinagar has many beautiful Buddhist temples here. For this region, it is also an international tourist destination where Buddhist pilgrims from all over the world come for excursions. After the Kushinagar town and eastwards, Bihar state starts up about 20 kilometers. Now, basically, it is openly stated Kushinagar and Kasia Bazar is a town and a historical place located in the northeastern marginal area of Uttar Pradesh. The name Kasia Bazar has been changed to Kushinagar, and after that Kasia Bazar has officially become a municipality with the name Kushinagar. So the original name is Kasia Bazar, folks. Kushinagar was a concocted name by Samuel Beal, who translated Hyun Sang, and they changed the name. See, Lumbini was a concocted name. They changed the name of Ruminde to Lumbini, Kushinagar, Kasia Bazar to Kushinagar. See, folks, and I am wrapping it up. You saw what I showed you. All these aren't available in Kushinagar. Your Mahaparinirvana Stupa should have a similar name. So folks, I am wrapping it up. I hope you enjoyed the video.